Okay, hey guys, welcome back to DylAcademy. I'm Dylan Mendonça and we're doing part 3 for math for paper 3H from November 2009. So let's pick up at question 19 where we left off. Alright, so question 19a is asking us to simplify this expression, x squared over x squared minus 2x. Now first of all, we can simplify the bottom. We can simplify it using factorization, right, like which we've learned before. So basically the highest common factor between the two in the denominator, between x squared and negative 2x is nothing but x. And so you divide x squared by x, you're going to get x. And negative 2x divided by x is minus 2. So now x squared over x minus 2. Now x squared can also be written as x multiplied by x, right? So if you notice, these two are divisible by each other and they form 1 because x and x divide to form, because they're the same thing, yeah? So it becomes x over x minus 2 and that's your simplified form. Well, 19b is asking us to simplify this, basically simplify this expression, and it's a bit more complicated, but I'll get you through it. So basically you can't just subtract two fractions, because they're not in like the same, they don't have the same denominator. So you can't just subtract them. So you need to develop a same denominator. Now how do you do this? Basically you can do this by doing this thing called cross multiplying. So you multiply opposite numerators by opposite denominators, and then you multiply both the denominators together. So it kind of looks like this. This multiplied by this multiplied by this, sorry for the bad drawing, and these two multiplied together. Okay, so let's do it. So first of all, x plus 1 times 2. So you're going to get 2 times x plus 1, and there's a minus 1. So minus 1 times 2x minus 1. Alright, and now you have to multiply these two denominators together. So you're going to get 2x minus 1 times x plus 1. Now let's simplify the top. We're going to get 2x plus 2, remember, expanding brackets. And expanding brackets again, we're going to get minus 2x, then plus 1. So we'll just, and that's all over 2x minus 1 and x plus 1. So 2x minus 2x is nothing but 0. So this just forms 3 over 2x minus 1, x plus 1. And that's your simplified form. If you want, you could expand this out and make it 2x squared plus x minus 1, but it's fine if you leave it this way, it doesn't matter. Alright, so question 20 says that each time this girl Jenny plays a computer game, the probability that Jenny will win is nothing but, this is a nice computer, sorry. Okay, I was bored. The probability that Jenny will win is 2 over 3. And she plays the computer game 3 times. So calculate the probability for 20a that she'll win all 3 games. Now the only way she will win all 3 games is if in the first game she wins, the second game she wins, and the third game she wins. Now what is the probability that she's going to win? It's nothing but 2 over 3. So all you got to do, in the first time she's going to win, if she wins, she has a 2 out of 3 probability of winning. The second time she has a 2 out of 3 probability of winning. And the third time she has a 2 out of 3 probability of winning. So in the 3 times, in the first time, let's say she wins, she gets the second time, sorry, ignore all of that. The total probability that she is going to win is basically when you multiply all of these together. Because there are 3 different instances. Because then there's one computer game, because she plays it 3 times. She doesn't play it all in once. So that's why it's being multiplied together. So if you do this, you're going to get an answer of 6 over 27, which simplifies to 2 over 9. So the total probability that Jenny will win thrice in the 3 computer games is 2 out of 9. Oh, I'm so sorry. I made one of my stupid, silly mistakes again. 2 times 2 times 2 is 8. It's not 6. Divided by 27. So that's your actual probability. Sorry. Okay, 20b, you're being asked to calculate the probability that she'll win exactly 2 out of 3 games. And the probability that you win, by the way, is 2 out of 3. So the probability of a win is equal to 2 out of 3. So what does that mean? If the probability that she'll win is equal to 2 out of 3, and we know that probability adds to 1, so the probability that she'll lose is nothing but 1 over 3. So now knowing that, we'll calculate the probability that she'll win exactly 2 out of 3 games. Now exactly 2 out of 3 games, meaning out of the 3 times she plays, she only wins twice. So how is that possible? If in the first time she plays, she wins, then she loses, she's technically won 2 out of the 3 games. If another possibility could happen where she wins, then she loses, then she wins, then again, she's basically won 2 out of 3 games. And another possibility that could happen is she loses the first game, then she wins the second 2. So these are the 3 possibilities that could happen, 1, 2, and 3. So if we calculate the probability of each possibility happening and add them all together, we're going to get the probability that she wins exactly 2 out of 3 games. So first of all, let's calculate the probability of 1. The probability of her winning in the first time is 2 out of 3. The probability of her winning in the second time is 2 out of 3. The probability of her losing in the third time is 1 out of 3. So if the total probability of that is nothing but 2 out of 3 times 2 out of 3 times 1 out of 3. For the second one, it's 2 out of 3 times 1 out of 3 times 2 out of 3. For the third one, it's 1 out of 3 times 2 out of 3 times 2 out of 3. So now all we have to do is add these all together. So if you look, they're like pretty much the same probability, which is nothing but 2 out of 3 times 2 out of 3 times 1 out of 3. They're basically like this in a different order. And they're being added 3 times. So all we got to do is take this probability and multiply it by 3, because it's being added 3 times anyway, so it's the same thing. Or you could just add like all of those separate things which I wrote down. So all you got to do is take this probability, 2 out of 3 times 2 out of 3 times 1 out of 3, and multiply it by 3. So you're going to get an answer of 4 over 9. Alright, so question 21 says that t is proportional, this is the symbol for proportionality, to the square root of d. So if we were to put this in an equation, t is equal to k times square root of d. Now find a formula for t in terms of d. To find a formula first, we have this kind of formula, but it's kind of incomplete because we don't have a value for k. Because k is like a constant, right? It's what relates them. It's a number that can relate both of the things. It could be 1, it could be 2, it could be anything. So basically, we have a value of t and d. So all we got to do is substitute this into this equation, and we can get a value of k. So t is 12 when d is 4, right? So 12 is equal to 2k. So divide both sides by 2. K is equal to 6. So now we substitute this back into this equation, and we'll have a full equation. So t is nothing but equal to 6 times root d. And that is your equation. Oh yeah, and that was 21a. Okay, 21b is very simple. They're asking you to calculate a value of t when d is equal to 9. So all you got to do is substitute into this equation, which we found in the previous question, and you'll find the value of t. So t is nothing but 6 times root of 9. Square root of 9 is nothing but 3, so it's 6 times 3. So t is equal to 18. Okay, question 2 shows the position of 2 ships, A and B, and basically a lighthouse L. So basically they say that, first of all, the diagram is not drawn accurately, and this thing is about bearings. So don't ever think of measuring the angles on this diagram, because it's not drawn accurately. So they say that ship A is 5 kilometers from L on a bearing of 070 degrees, and ship B is 3 kilometers from L on a bearing of 210 from L. Now what is a bearing? A bearing is basically like a kind of direction, a way to tell direction, and it's an angle. Okay, so basically it's an angle measured from north in a clockwise direction to in a clockwise direction. So let's say you had 2 points A and B, so A and B, A and B, and you wanted to get to B from A. So basically the bearing, first of all, the line joining these two is like this. So the bearing from A is the angle from north, which is north is here, south is here, east is here, and west is here. So it's just the angle from here, right here, to the line you're going on. So it's just this angle is the bearing. So now knowing that, we're going to fill in the things that they haven't drawn. They say that ship A is 5 kilometers from L on a bearing of 70 from L. Now you know that this direction is north. So from L it's 70 degrees. So this east, south, west, and that's north. So 70. So that means that this is 70 degrees. And they also say that ship B is on a bearing of 210 away from thing. So I'll draw ship B in blue, and it's basically this angle. So that's 210 degrees. Okay, so 22 is basically asking us to calculate the distance between ship A and ship B. So this distance over here, we'll call it x. Now first of all, to calculate this distance, we can use the cosine rule. I'm going to explain that later. But for the cosine rule, we need an angle inside the triangle. And we can't find this angle, we can't find this angle. But what we can do is we can find this angle over here. And this angle is nothing but 210, which is this whole part, minus 70. So cancel all of this, and you'll get your angle over here. So this angle, this new angle, which is basically inside here, is 210 minus 70, which is nothing but 140. So you know that that angle is now 140 degrees. And you have to mention in your working that 210 minus 70 is equal to 140, because they want to know that you understood that. Okay, now next. Now I'm going to explain the cosine rule to you. So the cosine rule is basically where a squared is equal to b squared plus c squared minus 2bc cosine of a. Now what the hell is this? A is the angle which is opposite to a squared. So in this case, the angle is 140. The side opposite to it is x squared. And b and c are the other sides. Now this can help us to find sides of anything. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to substitute values, and we're going to find side x. So in this case, it's a squared is equal to b squared. Yeah, b squared minus c plus c squared minus 2bc cosine a. So we're going to substitute values. So in this case, a is nothing but x, b can be 5, and we'll call c 3. So this is c, sorry, c, and that's b. Okay, so x is a. So x squared is equal to 5 squared plus 3 squared minus 2 times 5 times 3 cosine of, remember this angle is opposite to the a, so in this case it's 140. Now we just have to solve for x. So x squared is equal to 5 squared, 25, plus 9 minus 2 times 5 times 3 is 10 times 3, which is negative 30, cosine of 140. So I'll continue up here. So x squared, just put this on your calculator, and you're going to get, cosine 140. Yeah, you're going to put this on your calculator, and you're going to get something like x squared is equal to 56.981, blah, blah, blah. All you got to do is square root both sides, and you're going to get x as square root of 50, whatever, blah, the square root of that, which is nothing but 7.55. We have to give it to 3 significant figures, so it's 7.55, kilometers. Yeah, that's it. Okay, so question 23 says that Paula runs 25 laps of a track, and the track is 400 meters, correct to the nearest meter. And her average speed is 5 meters per second, correct to 1 decimal place. So if you calculate the upper bound for the time it takes Paula to run the race. Now, if you were just asked to calculate the time it takes Paula to run the race, I hope you know that speed is equal to distance over time. So time is equal to distance over speed. So if you were to calculate it, it would be nothing but 25 times 400, because she does 25 laps of a 400 meter track. So she runs 425 times, divided by the speed, which is 5. Now this would be like the normal way you do it. But in this case, what they want is the upper bound for the time. So basically, when you want the upper bound when dividing, basically a higher value for dividing, what you need to do is you need to divide an upper bound divided by a lower bound. And then you get a higher value, because you're dividing a higher value by a lower value. So you're obviously going to get a higher value, upper bound. So the upper bound for time, is nothing but the upper bound of distance, right, divided by the lower bound for speed. Now, how do you find the upper bound and the lower bound? So basically, first of all, we look at the upper bound for speed. For distance, sorry. So 400 meters is the distance of each track. Correct to the nearest meter. Correct to the nearest meter, meaning correct to the nearest 1 meter, right? So this could have either been 399.5 rounded up, or it could have been 399.49999 round, which you can just simplify to 399. It could have either been 399.5 rounded up, or it could have been 400.49999, which is just nothing but 400.5 rounded down, right? So basically, what this is, this is the lower bound, and 400.5 is the upper bound. Now, I'll show you a simple way of calculating it. So 400 has been rounded to the nearest 1 meter, right? Since it's been rounding to the nearest meter, so it means it's been rounded to the nearest 1 meter. So all you got to do is divide this by 2, you're going to get 0.5. Now to find the upper bound, you just take this and add this to the original, which is 400, and you're going to get the upper bound, which is 400.5. And if you wanted to find the lower bound, all you would have to do is take this, do 400 minus this, and you'd get your lower bound. So now let's do it. Okay, so the upper bound of the distance of each track is 400.5, and I hope you understand that from what I've been explaining. And now his speed, it's 5.0 rounded to the nearest decimal place, so it's been rounded to the nearest 0.1. So to find the lower bound of speed, all we got to do is divide this by 2. We're going to get 0.05, and we got to add, do 5.0 minus 0.05. So 5.0 minus 0.05, and we're going to get 4.95 as the lower bound. So now the upper bound for time, as we discussed, is the distance over the speed. Now the distance is 25 laps, because he runs 25 laps, times 400.5. 25 cannot have an upper bound because it's a fixed number, it's a fixed value. How can 25 laps? He can't change, like how he can't run 25.2 or like something like that, and it hasn't been rounded up to anything. So 25 times 100, upper bound of time is nothing but the upper bound of distance divided by the lower bound of speed. So divided by the lower bound of speed, which is 4.95. And so this will give you an answer of 2022.72 blah 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 seconds, right? But they're asking you to give your answer in minutes per second, minutes and seconds. So all you got to do is divide this by 60 to convert it to minutes. So you're going to get 33 minutes. Sorry, you can just keep this as 2023 because you want a whole number. So 2023, all you got to do is do 2023 divided by 33 minutes, and you're going to get 2023 divided by 60 to convert it to minutes. So you're going to get 33 minutes. And now, how many seconds are there in 33 minutes? 33 times 60. So 1980 seconds in 33 minutes. So all you got to do is 2023 minus 1980, and you're going to get 43 seconds. So 33 minutes and 43 seconds. I'm expecting that you know how to do this. This is really simple stuff. Okay, 24. You're given two functions, f of x and g of x. You're basically being asked in A1 to find g of f of x. So basically, inside the function of g, f of x should be put. So now, I like to think of it as, think of the x and g as f of x. So just replace every x with x squared. Every x and g with x squared. So let's do it. First of all, I like to write out the function of f of x, x squared. Then, I have to put this x squared into g of x, which is x minus 3. So all I have to do is take this x squared and put it as x over here. So it becomes x squared minus 3, and this is g of f of x. Now, question A2 is asking you to find g negative 1 of x. This negative 1 is nothing but inverse. Inverse is the opposite. So basically when you have a function y is equal to x, basically the y is equal to x plus 2, let's say, when an inverse happens, what happens is that the x values become the y values, because an inverse is like the opposite of the graph. So the x values and y values interchange, so x becomes y plus 2. So now knowing this, let's solve g inverse of x. So first of all, g of x is x minus 3, right? So we can say y is equal to x minus 3, because g of x is nothing but y. So now, when you have g inverse of x, these two switch positions. So x is equal to y minus 3. So all we got to do is solve for y again. Solve for y, and we'll get g inverse of x. So y is equal to, add 3 on both sides, x plus 3. And so g inverse of x is equal to x plus 3. Okay, so question 24b is asking you to solve the equation g of f of x is equal to g inverse of x. Now we have g of f of x and we have g inverse of x. So just put it into the equation. So g of f of x is x squared minus 3 is equal to x plus 3. Now all we have to do is solve. So subtract x and subtract 3 on both sides, and we're going to get x squared minus x minus 3 minus 3, which is minus 6, is equal to 0. Now all we got to do is solve this quadratic equation. We're looking for two numbers that multiply to give you negative 6 and add to give you negative 1. So those two numbers are nothing but negative 3 and 2. So x squared minus 3x plus 2x minus 6. So x is a factor, so x minus 3 and plus 2 is a factor, x minus 3. So it simplifies to x plus 2, x minus 3. So we got x plus 2 and x minus 3 is equal to 0, since if you look at the equation, it was equal to 0. So we have to solve the equation. So basically we have to find two values of x. So if we divide by x minus 3 on both sides, we're going to get x plus 2 is equal to 0. So x is equal to negative 2. And if we do the same thing by dividing x plus 2 on both sides, we're going to get x is equal to 3. So these are your two solutions to the equation. Okay, so 25a says that root a to the power of 7 is equal to k to the power of a, where k is equal to a to the power of n. So find the value of n, right? So now, first of all, we'll take the left-hand side. So root a to the power of 7. Root a is nothing but a to the power of half to the power of 7. Now, knowing your exponent rules, when you have a to the power of x to the power of something, to the power, all to the power of something, these two get multiplied. So this becomes nothing but a to the power of half times 7, and so this becomes a to the power of 3.5. Now, k into root a, meaning if you want this in this form, you have to have a root a. So what is root a? Root a is nothing but a to the power of 0.5, right? Or a to the power of half. So you just, knowing your exponent rules, you can split this into a to the power of 3 times a to the power of 0.5. Because basically if you have exponents with the same base, which is a and a, right? You can just add their powers. So you can add these two numbers, right? Okay, so I basically split it up. So now I've gotten a to the power of 3, a to the power of 0.5 can be written as root a. So now we know that k is a to the power of n. So here's your a, and n is your 3. So that means that n is equal to 3. Alright, so last question we're doing with 25, with this whole paper, finally. you're basically being asked to express 1 over 2 times root 2 as a power of 2. Okay, so first I'm going to write this down here. So 1 times 2 root 2. Now you have to write this as a power of 2. So first of all, what we're going to do is we're going to rationalize the denominator. Now what is rationalization of a denominator? It's nothing but getting rid of this stupid square root sign. Because no one likes them. Okay, so how do we do this? Basically what we do is we multiply both the bottom and the top by the denominator. So we multiply the bottom of the denominator by 2 root 2, and we multiply the top by 2 root 2. So in this way, the numerator becomes 2 root 2, because 1 times 2 root 2 is 2 root 2, over 2 times, okay, now I'll just compare. So 2 times 2 is nothing but 4. Root 2 times root 2 is nothing but 2, right? So it becomes 4 times 2. Because if you multiply let's say you multiply root x times root x, it becomes nothing but x. Because it's nothing but x to the power of half times x to the power of half, and half plus half is 1, so it becomes x to the power of 1. Yeah, but just a brief explanation. Whatever. So we got 2 root 2 over 8. Now, we have to write this as a power of 2. So basically, 2 times root 2 can be written as 2 to the power of half, right? And 8 can be written as 2 to the power of 3. So now what we can do is basically 2 to the power of 1 times 2 to the power of half is 2 to the power of 1 and a half. So 1 and a half divided by 2 to the power of 3. Now when you have division with the same base, all you got to do, of exponents with the same base, all you got to do is subtract their powers. So all you got to do is 2 to the power of 1 and a half minus 3 will give you your final answer, which is nothing but 2 to the power of negative 1 and a half. And so that is your, that is how you write as a 1 function of root 2. Sorry, I'll just write that simply. 2 to the power of negative 1.5. And that's it. That's your answer. Okay, so we're finally done with paper 3H from November 2009. Please comment if you have any questions. I may have been a bit vague on certain explanations because it's a bit difficult to explain. And please rate this video and subscribe to my channel. Thanks and stay tuned.